Welcome to the Human Collab, a platform about people and their stories. Today, we are featuring Bangalore's beloved neighborhood grandma and grandpa Indra Vittal and Badri Vittal. From kitchen mishaps to battling cancer, in their journey, they found strength in each other. Whether it involves appreciating a partner's cooking or adjusting to a partner's family, their journey has been about embracing and celebrating each other's differences. And if you thought that was all, Indra Akka and Badri Anna have more to share. During the COVID 19 pandemic, where we were all cooped up in our houses, navigating challenges and the new normal, this couple started digitally coaching kids from vulnerable economic backgrounds. The initiative soon snowballed into a purely community led effort. By 2024, they managed to provide free tutoring to about 3 lakh children across India, ranging from Kashmir to Karnataka. So grab yourself a cup of coffee and get ready to listen to this heartwarming podcast that will surely warm your souls. Welcome to the Human Collab podcast. It's an honor to have you both. I know that it was after watching a film that Badri Anna made a call to your father Indra Akka, but I'd like to know from the both of you a little bit about yourselves and how you met.
I am born and brought up in Mumbai, in Matunda. I was born in 43, and my father had put me in Hindi medium. He thought our India will have Hindi, so he put me in Hindi medium. I did my primary section there, and then I went to India, and I finished my FLC. Then I joined Khalsa College in Matunda. But I couldn't finish my degree. We had 11 years of school and then 4 years of college. That is 2 years inter and 2 years degree. So 2 years after inter, I just got married with Patri. So I couldn't finish my degree.
I was born in Kolar district, Karnataka, and I was born in the summer palace of Tipu Sultan, and which was official residence of my father as a doctor and exiled home. Up to 8th standard, I used to stay in villages, small villages, as my father's job was a transferable one, and so I had to have only Kannada medium up to 6th standard. Then my father was transferred to Mysore. From 7th standard to 10th standard, I was in English medium, and then I did art engineering there in Mysore, and then worked for 3 years, and then moved to IIT Bombay. Fortunately, I got selected there for my master's degree. I finished in 1964. Soon after, I got married to Indra. And then we started working. I used to work in all sorts of remote places as a civil engineer, putting up projects across the country for projects like power plant, fertilizer plant, chemical plant, then townships, etc.
How did you all meet each other?
I think I was about 20.
And I was 25 plus.
Mm.
I had gone to see Clark Gable's picture Gone with the Wind, and Clark Gable was one of my favorite actors. I came out in the intermission and called Mr. Rao, and I said, "Sir, I believe we have a marriageable doctor at home." What a question! My God, thank God I was not hit. And so then suddenly he was flabbergasted. I said, "No, no, sir, my father gave lumbar." So that's how it started. He came to the hostel, had a good breakfast as I requested him, and he took me home.
I didn't know that my father is looking for some alliance for me. I didn't know that because in our house, we were all very disknown. Nobody would say anything. So one day my mother said, Indu, just practice some music because being a South Indian, you have to learn music, Carnatic music. So practice some music when boy is coming to see me. I said, okay, then I practice. Can't ask any questions. So I practiced some music. And then my mother said, you wear nice Kanjivaram sari and bake my, because my hair very short and not very long. So bake some put some artificial this thing. I said, no. If he appreciates this, it's okay. Otherwise, I don't want to put Kanjivaram sari and all simple sari I'll wear, and I'm not putting any artificial plates in my thing. And then he came to our house, and when I came out, he just saw me from top to head. I thought, why he is seeing me like this? And then the usual what we do. And then my mother gave him some eatables and all that. And then I went inside. Then after some time, I told my father, I want to speak to your daughter, which was very, very unusual those days. And in our house, very traditional family. So my father said, okay, and he called a small house. So we were sitting in the drawing room. They were all sitting in that other. And he was speaking to me about music. He was interested in the studying music. So he was asking me whether you have heard of Ravi Shankar and all these. I've never heard any Hindustani music. So I said, no. And then in between, he said, I like you. What about your opinion? But I was very shy. I couldn't answer anything. And then he spoke about the music and all that. And then he went to me. Then he wrote a letter to me. If you are shy to say anything, you can just write in the letter, because the marriage is that both of us should agree. So my parents said no more, no writing and all. So I just called him and I told him. He was very shy to tell him that I'm okay with you. I just said, whatever question you asked me that day, the answer is yes. That's how we met.
What has been the best part of being married to each other?
The best part is we have an excellent son and an excellent daughter. And through whom we have the lone grandchild. My favorite thing is her cooking. An excellent cooking. I'm yet to see her sambar, the quality of sambar, what she makes, or any dish for that matter, except my mother-in-law's. Nowhere else I can have eaten that kind of thing. And Hindu is an excellent cook, and that my son also has got it now. He cooks, though he is a very busy executive. He cooks at least 2-3 days a week, though the maid is there.
He's quite patient. Sometimes, yeah, he gets angry, but it's not that it stands there. It just goes down. Because, when I just got married, I was not a very good cook at that time. And sometimes I used to put lots of salt and sometimes too salt. He always used to adjust. He says, don't put salt. If we can add it. And then in my house, something breaks, everybody will scream. But here, when I broke something, said, oh, it's okay. So that I really newly married at that time. Once what happened, I kept something on the stove and went out. And then there was a fire and all my plastic boxes got melted. The whole kitchen was black. And my maid started telling me, now Saab, he used to come for lunch. Now Saab will come and he will be so angry. He may beat you also. I was really scared. But when he came home, I said, this has happened. So it's okay. Nothing happened to you. It's okay. So I was really shocked seeing this, because in my house, my father, my brothers, they will scream.
Patience is thy virtue.
What is your secret to this long-term partnership?
But the thing is, we never used to hide anything from each other.
Yes. We never did hide anything.
We never used to hide. And even when we got engaged and when we had a farewell party in Institute of Technology, Bombay, and she had come to join us. That is the first time she saw that I was having a drink. And then started eating. A full chicken used to be there at the table. And she said, oh my God, you eat non-veg? You drink?
And I never seen this thing non-veg dish and all. There it was roasted chicken. You can imagine everybody is having roasted chicken in front of them. I couldn't eat anything. But when we went to Obra, that is the first job we had, we went to Obra and I saw whenever in the party, he used to enjoy non-veg. So I learned how to make non-veg.
Hailing from a Brahmin family, Orthodox people, I could never even utter non-veg and drinks and all that. Even in our house, she had not seen. Though our elder brothers used to have drinks. And
well, our house, no onion or garlic used to come. But then I learned how to cook non-veg and I used to cook for him.
That is it. Because of my interest, she started cooking non-veg at home.
But now, after so many years, I told him now I am not going to cook any non-veg food in the house because I do my puja and all that. I don't like to cook.
But religiously, she orders every Sunday.
Every Sunday, I order for.
How did you all deal with conflicts?
See, he used to be very hot tempered. So in his work, if he is angry with his boss, he will just resign without thinking. Just he will give resignation and then he will come home and I have resigned. So with MDs also he used to. So like that, he has, and then we will go and search for the job and all that. Then when both the kids were born, so again same thing was happening, and we were in Jabalpur, and one day we were just going to the market, and I told him, see now we have 2 kids, and now if you resign without having the job in your hand, then I will resign you. That is the last resignation without a job. Next, he had a job and he came to hospital. And from then hospital, we went to Kota. He had a job in his hand and then he resigned.
How can anybody survive having a fight with managing director? But I was hot tempered. But those were the days. If you resign in the morning, you get a just job in the evening. If you resign in the evening, next morning you get a job. That was the
No. But once, for 1 month, we never had job. Only one in my sister's house in Bombay. And every day he used to go searching for a job. 1 month. It was very difficult. But we never used to show, never to my sister and brother-in-law will say, you don't have job, 2 kids, and you are all smiling and not showing your worry and all that. We were like, we never used to show our worry to others. But yeah, we used to talk to each other in the night when the kids were sleeping. We used to say, what is this? We still don't have job, what to do. We were worried, but not showing to others. I'll tell you one more thing. For a long time, my sisters, they thought that we don't fight with each other at all. Because we never used to show it to others. They also always used to think we never fight. Once my sister saw me, so both of us arguing, and oh, Hindu Badri also fight. So we never used to show anyone all this.
Patriana, you were also diagnosed with cancer. How difficult was that part of the journey for both of you?
This was about 12 years ago when we used to visit New Jersey every year to visit my family, daughter, and because as my child growing up, right, from the birth time, we used to visit every year for 6 to 8 months, we stay there. And in 2012, when we came back, I was diagnosed with cancer. And the day I saw carcinoma or something, then she said, what is it? I said, cancer. She said, why are you worried?
No, I just ran to my sister's house who used to stay just in front of our house. I cried there. I cried that he's having cancer. And that's all. Afterwards, I didn't cry. And then all the test was done and all that. And then children, they searched for a good doctor who is good. Everywhere they searched, we came to know about this.
Cancer is Bangalore.
Then he was admitted there, but then he developed some infection. So doctor said we can't operate now, and came back. And then again, all the treatment was going on there for the infection.
And before the operation, I had developed a very serious infection. Plenty of the pus had formed in some parts, the tubby parts. So all that she bore, and she stood with me, the whole room used to stick. That's her greatness.
And then the day the operation was there, the previous night, the doctor, he told me that there is quite a risk because the infection is still there. In case the infection goes somewhere else, that we can't save me. So he prepared me. So I was prepared. But at the time of going to the operation, in that small room, in front of the operation theater, only me, my daughter were there and the nurse. and we were looking the file and all that. And he was on the stretcher. And tight security, nobody can come in and all that. But suddenly he told me, I saw two person, the sannyasis, they were, that orange, this thing, and they were having tulsi mala, and they touched me. I said, how can it be? Nobody can come in. It's tight security here. Nobody can come. No, I saw. The both of them came and they touched. We always follow Raghavendra Swamiji. I don't know whether you have heard it.
Means the avatar is supposed to be an avatar manifestation of the Prahlad. He was a great saint in about 5 or 6 years ago.
He had a live samadhi in Mantralia. So we all go there. We are devoted. So I said, Raghavendra Swamiji and his guru has come and blessed you. Nothing will happen to you. You'll be fine. And after the operation, no chemo, no radiation, nothing, no medication.
How we concluded that it must be Raghavendra Swamiji coming and blessing me is this. At the same time, her sister, younger sister, had gone to a Raghavendra Swami Matha, where Raghavendra Swamiji's Vrindavan is there. And she told the priest, my brother-in-law is going to have an operation, so we want blessings. So he took some mantraksha akshata and touched the Vrindavana and prayed and gave it back. And she came, what time Badri said that he saw the two sannyasis. When the time was revealed, that's the time I was at this day of this. We strongly believe because of his blessings, I was through and up and kicking and breathing now, because my strong belief is that Swamiji wanted that this Vidya free coaching, Vidya mission has to go out. Where are you going? Come. He pulled me out of the jaws of death. That's the belief.
And in the hospital, I used to climb the 3-story steps. Never took the elevator because I was so scared that there are some people and I may get thumb infection and I will pass on to him. So I used to climb with all the food and all that to the 3rd story. But we had a tough time. 2 months we had tough time, but we managed. Children were there. One after another, they used to come, support me. First my daughter-in-law came, then my son came, my daughter came. My niece, his younger brother's daughter, she stays close by. She's like our daughter. So she came. So one by one, they used to come. And for all the time, I had somebody to support.
Now that you're going to expose our story to maybe a lot of people through your channel, my strong advice or suggestion, people, is don't lose heart. Anything can be overcome. We have an example. We have so many other examples. Look at Yuvraj Singh. He had lung cancer. How he overcame and became the world champion. The next World Cup. See? They believe in oneself.
Believe in oneself, not believe in God.
And not getting stressed out.
Yeah.
90% of the people, the moment they hear cancer, they collapse.
What advice would you like to give to the younger couples?
Ego ko छोड़ो, adjust, सब कुछ ठीक हो जाएगा.
Adjustment.
She adjusted to my auto experience. That was a good thing. The one thing that has striked all along is my mother had Alzheimer's when she was in 80s. But the way she looked after my mother, tremendously. It's very important to adjust to whatever the deficiencies are or weaknesses. That's one. It's very important to adjust.
Yeah. So, see, all of us, we are not perfect. Everybody has got some this thing with them, some negative thing or something. We have to adjust. We should take the good thing. I tell my children also, and even the students, I tell them, see, when you see somebody, if you see some bad things in them, don't take that. Take the good points. Whatever good points we have, you take that. There will be some ups and downs in your life. You should be calm. You should be patient. Have faith in yourself. Have faith in the God. And then adjust with each other.
So, Indraka, you started coaching your maid's daughters in your living room so that your maid could save some money spent on the tutoring. One thing led to the other, and the initiative that you started out of your living room today has snowballed into what we know as free coaching Vidya, impacting about 3 lakh students across India. Could you share with us about how it all started, what went into it?
So my maid children, they were going to the Kannada medium. I have learned Kannada letters, but I'm not very fluent in reading and writing in Kannada. But I learned, and slowly I started reading, and I used to explain to them, and I could use them. Then afterwards, next week came, her children were also going for the tuition and all that. I told them not to go to the tuition. Come home, we'll teach you. Two girls, one was in UKG, one was in UKG, and one was in class 6. So the UKG girl used to come and sit with me. They were both of them were in English medium. And 6th standard student used to go to Badri. So we were teaching them. And then when this small girl came to class 6, the corona came. So when the corona was there, they were not allowed to come here. My maid and the children, nobody was supposed to come here. So then we started teaching them from the field. And then suddenly Badri got an idea. Why can't we have some more children? So we asked those children, those girls, why don't you get your friends and we can teach them in the food? So all of them used to sit in their house in the food and we used to teach them. Both of us used to teach them. And then my maid daughter, we gave them a smartphone. And then some 8-10 children came and we were teaching them on the phone. And suddenly one day, the Prajavani, a local Kannada paper, they came to know about us because at that time this online teaching was not there. They printed a story about us that some old couple in Bangalore, they are teaching children on.
It was on September 28th or 29th. 2 days later, their English decade made another story. So both in Kannada and English.
So we got some students, we got some faculty members. They started because everybody was sitting in the house, don't know what to do. So they were all very excited. So we all to teach the children. We want to teach the children and the kids also because no school.
To start with, it was across Karnataka. Children from the very rural areas, they saw the Kannada paper. They also, some of them in the urban centers saw the English paper and they started approaching us, calling us. Every day we would receive from morning to night calls. And that's how we started getting students and some of the faculty saw and then they offered free coaching.
And then in the rural area, because the smartphone was not there. So they wanted a smartphone, otherwise they can't teach them, So then we thought what to do. Then we were telling this to my sister and friends and all that. They said, oh, we want to help. We will give some food. But I was very particular that nothing should come into our hand. Because money or phone, whatever it is, it comes to our hand. Once, after some time, somebody will start saying, oh, these people are making money. So what arrangement was, what I said, I told them, you can order in Amazon.
I used to connect the donor with the donee, and the phones would directly go to the donor, whether in US or UK or India. They used to directly courier it, get it couriered to the students through the faculty, which I used to identify. And there in the school or college, the faculty would distribute those phones to the needy. And I used to monitor entering the various classes we used to conduct.
But they used to we told them to take the picture when you are giving the food. And also the student must write a thanking letter to the donors. And then he used to control whether all the children are coming to the class or not.
The phone recipients, I used to visit every class at least 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and see that the student, this phone recipient child, is there attending the class. Otherwise, I used to get it taken back to their packet. So it was all nicely controlled. And then some people wanted to donate some money. I used to identify a college or a school, and then I used to tell them, please send it to so college account or school account. So it used to go to a few colleges and schools which I had identified and trustworthy, and then that money, how to be used, I used to control. Maybe to buy some phones and maybe to start recharging the Google phones. And then, the most importantly, the money would be spent towards the projectors we got installed in various rural schools. About 7 projectors were fixed, each at the cost of around 1.2 lakh of rupees, including the speed, mic, UPS system, etc. etc. And that's how the money used to go from donor to donor, and expenditure used to be controlled by people.
Fine. Never used to go anywhere.
Everything online. For 2 years, we never moved out of the house. Only after Corona totally stopped, then we started going to some schools and colleges to meet some of the fellows who we are, even our faculty, we had not met for 2.5 years. They had not met us.
See online like this used to see their face. We never used to meet them.
When we celebrated our second anniversary of the mission, that's when they were invited, some of the local faculty who are in Bangalore, they were invited to our house and lunch, and we all started. It was it.
There we could see each other.
And even after Corona ended, we thought our strength will go down. No. We evolved strategies which gave us, and in fact, our growth has been happening since then, since that time.
And did you all ever imagine that you all would land up impacting about 3 lakh students across India?
No, we didn't imagine it.
No one imagine.
How it triggered, I think. Whatever used to happen from 2 students to 8, 8 to 10, 10 to 20, I used to tell our elder brother, Mr. S.L. Ram. He is about 2.5 years elder to me. He was served as Electricity Tariff Regulation Committee Chairman and Director General of National Council of Applied Economic Research in Delhi, etc., etc. And I used to say, Surendra, now today our strength has gone up to 6. Surendra, our strength today has gone up to 10. He said, why don't you expand? That triggered, and today we are at 2 lakh plus. That motivated me.
An initiative that snowballed into what it is today would also require a lot of volunteers and a gamut of like-minded people coming together. How did this become a community-led initiative that it is today?
We said with the dedicated, educated, diligently working, free volunteering faculty to back the mission, there is absolutely no problem. And subsequently, my ambition was to get university volunteers to Fiji volunteer. So 3, 4 units were contacted. Again, online, everything. So TMR University in Bangalore, mainly doing legal, getting to legal students, plus other, they had the strength is around 28,000 students. Now CMR University in Bangalore, and then ML Ramar University in Bangalore, and BMS College of Engineering in Bangalore, these 3, plus some SJS group of institutes in Mysore. I signed memorandum of understanding with these 3 universities in Bangalore, and their university volunteers also, you come and teach as and when required. Particularly during COVID time, we had excellent batch of students from BMS College of Engineering who used to fully volunteer, all in second year, third year, doing engineering, that gave us a boost.
And all our faculty members, we are like a family members. And we are elders, so they all respect us.
Even all our faculty, like you now, I told you, I'm not a sir, she's not a man. So they call us by, relationship,
Some by name, some by auntie,
and some by name,
students get called Ajji, Tata.
Dadu, Dadi, Nana.
So no sir or madam.
A unique initiative like this must have had you all had unique experiences with the students that you all have coached. Do you all have memories of students that did outstandingly well?
Even our the first 2 children, our mates' daughters, the eldest one, doing now BCom, being coached by us, and also for CA. There were about 6 students getting coached for CA, but it's very difficult. CA courses are very difficult So first attempt they failed, second attempt they failed, and all of them left except one girl. I told her, Rupa, you finish your BCom from which you are coaching, and then after BCom you take up CA, will help you totally. She said, no, Tata, I will not leave. I will pass. And next attempt, she passed and called us, Tata, I passed. I was started crying.
And another thing I told you about my maid who like, two kids used to come, and when we were 6th standard, we used to go to Madrid. This younger one was very smart. I used to teach her, and she used to grasp very fast. But this girl, the other girl, elder girl, was very weak, very, very weak, maths and everything. But I told Patri, you should have lots of patience teaching these kids. You can't use patience like you used to with your children. So have patience. Patience used to teach her, and then this girl just used to get promoted to the other class, because the system is that you can't detain the kids, even if they are failed in 3 4 subjects, you have to promote them. So up to 9th, she came like this, and then in 10th, she got 72%. And in 12th, she got 80%. All credit goes to Badri. The way he used to teach, and they say this very close by. So every day after the school hours, she'll come here, sit here till 8 o'clock. In the morning, she'll come here at 5 o'clock in the morning, and then 7 o'clock she will go get ready. So like that, he was teaching that girl, and
then we got her admitted into MS Damaya for BCom and also the CA, which she could finish foundation awards. Later on, I'm sure we'll take it up. And a few other people there who used to score after our coaching. After 2 years, they started to be in the bracket of 90s.
Yeah.
One visually impaired student got to know about us, and he contacted me online and said, I want help for BA students. A group of BA students. We started with 8 students of Bachelor of Arts students in a local college. So they had difficulty, they had particular subject English literature. Imagine a civil engineer like we asked to give course for spoken English. Uttarashmi, whom we are going to meet tomorrow, and I started handling online classes for them, and it became a success. They passed, and they went into the next semester. Now we have more students of BA. Some of them want to compete for IAS or KS, Karnataka Administrative Service. So we also started coaching them through online, of course. And those visually impaired students, it's a great experience, and it's a pleasurable thing. One more success story is very important. A boy from Mysore who had several surgeries in his childhood. He was very weak in body. He had speech difficulties. His mother and his parents took extremely good care of him and got his speech partly recovered through All-India Institute of Speech here in Mysore. And we came into contact with him, and I had to arrange 6 of our faculty members to fund that one student for different subjects: maths, spoken English, bodybuilding, and developing communication skills and interview skills, all that. And 6 faculty members worked on it. Now he has a good body because one of our faculty members, an young lady, young girl, about 32 years, she is a black belt. She worked on the subject of muscle building and all that. Now he has secured a job, accountant's job in defense services.
And he came with his parents to our house. And then he was very thankful. And he gave from his first salary 5,000 rupees to help some poor.
And I sent it off for recharging some poles.
Not just Karnataka and the neighboring states, through this initiative, you are also able to reach less accessible states like Jammu and Kashmir? How did that happen?
Yeah, that's a great tradition. And we went to Vaishnav Devi, and this gentleman, one gentleman there, he was working in Airtel at senior capacity. He took us around Vaishnav Devi and all that, and he arranged some of his help to take us around. When this free coaching Vidya came, I contacted him. Ajay, come now. Hey, give me some Kashmir schools. So he's contacted the Development Commissioner in Dora district. We had a meeting with him, and that's how the first batch of Jammu students came to our lab. And the Development Commissioner was very proactive. Now, then, uh, through this, lot of others came into contact, and from Kashmir, some rural school joined us, and that's how we got the entry into Kashmir. And I'm very happy that lot of students in Jammu Kashmir are being helped. Truly speaking, some 1,350 schools were connected, but later red tape came into see. The director of school education is not cooperative. So a lot of schools dropped out. Now they try hard to get back some of those schools and children. But some students are still with us.
Free coaching Vidya has managed to get a lot of appreciation from media, the government, and internationally. How does that feel?
See, the very fact that the local media again and again interviewed us and published, that itself is a good recognition in my opinion. Rajavani and Decadar. And during COVID, soon after, during COVID, peak COVID, they recognized us as COVID heroes. There's a group of people, doctors, nurses, who were recognized as COVID heroes, and we were also recognized because of this education inputs we were giving during COVID, and that is one thing. And secondly, on the Tal radio, the best recognition, in my opinion, we had the Tal Hero Award of 2022. Tal Radio is based in California, being run by some Indians. And along with us, Infosys also was recognized and a few others. Globally, every year they award some six or so awards and or some people or entities who are trying to make some difference, in any sphere of life. So that was all radio. This thing is, and then of course, it's Siddhaganga pontiffs, but we were honored. Shral, Garland, and things like that. Like that, many places they have it.
What is the age bracket and the stream for students to receive coaching through this initiative?
Right from second standard to degree level, we are at. Now the professional courses and like a CA also, and some coaching for competitive NEET aspirants. And the most importantly, now we are finding lot of students want help for their competitive exams. We have some students who want to get through Jammu Kashmir Admission Services exam. Similarly in Karnataka and UPSC, Karnataka Administrative Service, etc. So the way to approach us is very simple. In all these media elements that expose us, our phone numbers are available. So we are free. We freely give all the three numbers of ours, mine, Hindus, and one land phone number. Anybody can approach us through those phones anytime. So those numbers are there.
So they contact us by phone and they ask how to get this
How we get enrolled.
So we tell them what to do. They have to have their WhatsApp number, and they should tell us which class they are, what medium of instruction, everything. They should send to us. They will send it to us by WhatsApp.
And also, our catering is mainly to economically weaker sections, children from those sections. So, but we have never said no to even affluent family children. But if some affluent family children come, I only request them, not a condition. Yes, we'll coach your child, but I only request if you can spare some money, sell it to well, the help of some poor students. But some people have said yes. Then I give them the bank details of a school or college where it can be used. Full credit is there, nobody to our ad. Oh my God.
I was very particular that the pic should come into America. And we asked the students to put this app, that is a Google Meet app, in that pool. So we do classes with Google Meet.
For people interested in volunteering for this community led initiative, how do they reach out to you and what's the procedure?
My phone number is there. They can contact me. I will suggest how they want to donate, what they want to donate, by way of teaching, by way of some money, which can be sent to the donee. That's it.
And we'll ask subjects which subjects they are interested in teaching. So we will allot them that subject. What classes you want to take? You want to take the smaller classes or higher classes?
Two interesting things I'm tempted to tell you. Recently, I had a meeting with the additional chief secretary, Karnataka government, and under her, responsible to her, there is one commissioner, Panchayat Raj. With these two there, we had a meeting. Some of our faculty, two of whom we are meeting tomorrow, Smita and Lokut and Indira, we had a meeting. They are setting up 6,000 library centers across Karnataka
In rural.
in the rural places. Those 6,000 libraries, now Uba Mahadevan, who is the additional chief secretary, wants us to help youth, children of schools, and women through those library centers for various requirements. So that will be a great additional thing, additional help that our mission can give. So we were asked to visit. They first gave us 3 library centers. We went to 2 library centers, visited them, and that is the initiative that has been initiated. So we have an opportunity to help more rural youth who are mostly not to compete for competitive exams, and the women who are looking for spoken English improvement, getting some job, things like that, we can launch.
What impact has this initiative had on your lives? And how have you all evolved?
I Betty, and his edition 86 in June.
I will tell you one thing. We are both of us are ardent fans of cricket and tennis. Cricket, for example, every match I used to watch for all these years. Even when we won the World Cup in 2011 in New Jersey, I used to watch every match early in the morning, sitting there at 3 o'clock, and getting up and watching the matches. That was the severity with which I was an ardent fan. And also tennis. Now, imagine when we started this pre-coaching Vidya, I didn't see a cricket match for 3.5 years because I don't have time. I changed my priorities. The first match I saw after 3.5 years, I thought it would be a bonus for myself. The India Pack match last time, which we won. So, you see, it all depends on your priorities. The seniors, many people say, वो आपसे नहीं होगा, हम भूल गए हैं, हम अभी 50 साल पहले या 40 साल पहले पढ़े थे. अरे यार, सब कुछ हो सकता है. Had the will, had the urge.
And also, you should have exercise, walking, and time eating, and all that you should have. So both of us, we do our yoga, we go for a walk. We at least 45 minutes, 1 hour walk.
And each and every day. More than anything, Manasa, don't take tension.
Tension.
and believe in yourself. Anybody can do anything. I tell you, I am a civil engineering student. I was a civil engineer. Now, when there was a need, I started studying commerce subjects. Now I'm teaching even degree students business economics and business law or CA students. Not my, they all those subjects are alien to, but I started studying. Even now I study for BCom and PU students. And imagine business law handled by a civil engineer. I studied and I'm teaching.
See, I do all my cooking. I don't ask my maid to do the cooking. I don't like it. I do she will cut the vegetables and all that. That I'll have. But I love to cook. And I love to entertain. Earlier I used to entertain lots of people. But now because of my age, I can't entertain so many people. 4 or 5. I like to entertain.
And this wraps up our podcast of Bangalore's beloved Ajja and Ajji, a couple whose journey through life and love is anything but ordinary. Thank you, Badri, Anna, and Indra Akka, for sharing your story through the Human Collab. Their story is a powerful reminder that growth often comes from stepping out of our comfort zones and embracing each other's uniqueness. Remember, as Indra Akka beautifully put it, please speak even if you're making mistakes. It's okay. Also, adjust and growing alongside each other can be complicated or simple depending on where we leave our egos. Stay tuned for more such incredible stories on the Human Collab, where we celebrate the extraordinary in the ordinary. If you enjoyed this podcast, do not forget to subscribe, leave a comment, and share it with your friends and family. Until the next time, keep celebrating the human spirit and the beautiful stories that connect us all. Together, let's foster a community where strength and compassion thrive.